Today we're going to be talking about 1 Kings. So let's dive deep. So in chapter 1, King David is old and weak. Adonijah, his son, declares himself king. Bathsheba and Nathan, the prophet, inform David, who then appoints Solomon as king to fulfill his promises. In chapter 2, David gives Solomon final instructions, urging him to follow God's laws. After David's death, Solomon then consolidates his power by executing Adonijah and dealing with potential threats. In chapter 3, Solomon asks God for wisdom to govern Israel. Pleased with his request, God grants him exceptional wisdom, wealth, and honor. Solomon's wisdom is demonstrated in the famous case of the two women claiming to be the mother of a baby. Solomon's administration is established in chapter 4, detailing his officials and prosperity of his reign. His wisdom and wealth attracts visitors from all over, including the Queen of Sheba. Chapter 5, Solomon makes an alliance with the King Hiram and Tyre to obtain materials for building the temple. Preparations for the temple constructions began. In chapter 6, the construction of the temple is described in detail, including its dimensions, materials, and the temple is built over 7 years. Chapter 7, Solomon builds his place and other structures. The chapter describes the craftsmanship and materials issued and used, including the famous bronze pillars. In chapter 8, the Ark of the Covenant is brought into the temple, and Solomon dedicates the temple with a prayer, emphasizing God's faithfulness and importance of obedience. In chapter 9, God appears to Solomon, reaffirming his covenant, and Solomon's wealth and accomplishments are highlighted, but he is warned against turning into idolatry. In chapter 10, the Queen of Sheba visits Solomon. Impressed by his wisdom and wealth, she brings gifts and praises Solomon's God. In chapter 11, Solomon's heart turned away to God due to many foreign wives, leading to idolatry. God raises adversaries against Solomon, including Hadad and Edomite and Rezin in Damascus. In chapter 12, after Solomon's death, his son Rehoboam becomes king. The people request lighter burdens, but Arab rejects their plea, leading to the division of the kingdom into Israel and Judah. In chapter 13, a prophet of Judah delivers a message to Jeroboam, the new king of Israel, who has led the people into idolatry. The prophet is later killed by a lion for disobeying God's command. In chapter 14, Jeroboam's reign is marked by sin and idolatry, and the prophet Aggai foretells the destruction of Jeroboam's house. And Jeroboam reigns in Judah, but his kingdom also falls into sin. Chapter 15, the reigns of Asa in Judah and Nebuch and Baasha in Israel is described. Asa is noted for reforms and faithfulness to God, while Baasha continues in sinful practice of Jeroboam. In chapter 16, we see the rise and the fall of various kings in Israel, including Zimri, Omri, and chronicled. Ahab, the son of Omri, becomes king, marries Jezebel, and promotes Baal worship. Chapter 17, the prophet Elijah emerges, announcing a drought as judgment against Israel's idolatry. He is miraculously provided for during the drought. Chapter 18, Elijah confronts the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, demonstrating God's power through miraculous fire, and the prophets of Baal are defeated. In chapter 19, the confrontation, Elijah flees from the queen of Jezebel. Feeling discouraged, God assures him and commissions him for further ministry. In chapter 20, Ahab faces Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, in a battle, and God grants Israel victory despite their unfaithfulness. Chapter 21, Ahab covets Naboth's vineyard. Jezebel orchestrates Naboth's murder to give the vineyard to Ahab, and Elijah confronts Ahab, prophesying judgment. In chapter 22, Ahab seeks ally with Jehoshaphat of Judah. The chapter includes the story of Micaiah, a prophet who warned Ahab against going to battle, which ultimately leads to Ahab's death. So that being said, that is the book of 1 Kings. Stay tuned to look at the 2 Kings. Stay blessed, never stressed, with much peace, much power, much love, much light, and of course, much joy.